Hi, I'm Scott Davis. Welcome to New World Birth. By accessing this presentation, you're inviting me to share this information regarding our passage through this challenging and very hopeful time. And this is the care and feeding of a New World Age report for the Gregorian date of November 21st, 2013, or 1 Men or Eagle in the Mayan Tzolkin calendar. We're also going to be talking about the sun moving into Sagittarius, the heliocentric Uranus Pluto square, and the Sagittarius new moon. November 21st, 2013 is 1 Man or Eagle. This carries the themes of higher perspective, keen vision, free spirit, messenger of faith and knowledge, patience, the wings of spirit, value, manifestation of fertility, knowing the details, the dualities of the sun and moon, the budding youth and the wise elder, male and female, the soaring eagle and the fallen eagle, and the messenger between heaven and earth. It represents luck, hope, trust, liberty, good fortune, and good relationships. In just a moment, we're going to be talking about Jupiter retrograde, which those are all themes of Jupiter as well. So I think it's neat when we start looking at how the systems have harmonies. Anyway, eagles have this quality of being able to observe movements from a great distance. The 1 eagle 13-day period could be used to gain greater perspective about the events in our lives through creating some sort of distance between the observer and what is being observed. Before I get into the daily energy of the Eagle Trecena, on November 21st, all the planets are appearing to move forward from our vantage point here on Earth, except for Jupiter and Uranus, which are appearing to move retrograde or in reverse motion. And I've discussed the implications of the other planets moving retrograde in past reports. So I'm just going to keynote them here. Jupiter is the king of the gods. It's a planet that's about good fortune, opportunities, faith, religion, beliefs, expansion, and all those same themes as Eagle. And then Cancer is the sign it's traveling through, and this is about the family and the home, nurturing and protection. Mostly what I find with Jupiter retrograde, as with any other retrograde cycle, is that it's about reviewing the past. And with Jupiter, what really gets reviewed are missed opportunities. In Cancer, these are likely to be related to the home and family. Retrograde Uranus is in Aries, and it's really seeking to shake our very foundation and shock us to awaken, forces us to embrace a new way of living through reversals and unexpected events. And then, really, the interesting thing for me, the real big change for the 1 Men Trecena is that we're going to have the only heliocentric or sun-centered Uranus-Pluto square of our lifetime, unless you were born before 1933. That was the last one. And this heliocentric Uranus-Pluto square is going to occur on November 23rd. And I think this is kind of interesting because Men is about seeing from a higher perspective, and heliocentric means seeing from the perspective of the sun. And what we're looking at is the Pluto and Uranus at their exact 9-degree alignment. So the interpretation of this chart is quite different, that we don't really consider the moon so much. It is in the chart here, and what's right next to it, this circle with the cross on top of it, that's the Earth in the chart. We're not really looking at the sun because the sun is the point of view. Instead, in this chart, the Earth is really just one of the other planets. It's not the point of focus, like when we do a geocentric view of where the planets are. So this alignment is not exclusively about our little planet. It's about the whole solar system. Many of us are aware that we're in the middle of a solar maximum in the sun's 11-year cycle, which results in the flipping of the solar poles. And so the North Pole becomes south, the south becomes north, and I sort of think of this as like it's the whole solar system rebooting. And I believe that the exactual inversion of the poles is likely to occur on or around November 23rd. And this will bring a significant shift not only to the Earth, but throughout our solar system, with implications within our galaxy. So our consideration of this experience should be as being part of the solar system and not as we're the center of the universe. Before we go into the real specifics of the chart, I want you to notice that some of the planets are in quite different positions from the perspective of the sun than they are from the perspective of the Earth. So these are at the exact time of the heliocentric square. We've got Mercury in Virgo. So from the perspective of the sun, Mercury is in Virgo at 13 degrees of Virgo. We have Venus is at 1 degree of Taurus. We have the Earth, which is now a planet from the it's always a planet from the perspective of the sun, but we're going to talk about it as a planet. It is at 1 degree of Gemini, which makes sense because we think of the sun being at the very beginning of Sagittarius, the opposite sign. Mars, from the perspective of the sun, is at 15 degrees of Leo. Jupiter is at 11 degrees of Cancer. Saturn is over here, 14 degrees of Scorpio. Uranus is at 11 degrees of Aries. Neptune, 4 degrees of Pisces, and I'm sorry, from the sun, 4 degrees of Pisces, and Neptune is up. Pluto is up here at 11 degrees Capricorn. Not only are Uranus and Pluto forming a square from the perspective of the sun, but Jupiter is opposing Pluto, and then the two of them are forming a 90-degree angle to Uranus. So what this does is this creates what we call a T-square, with the winds of change receiving the focus. And in Aries, we're talking about very aggressive changes in our solar system, which may respond in bringing balance back to the Earth before we commit ecocide. We also have Saturn forming a 90-degree angle to Mars, which furthers the theme that our sun will restructure the reality of its domain. Our planet has never been more out of balance than it is right now, with pollution and radiation, the death of wildlife in the Pacific Ocean and in the Gulf of Mexico. We humans have been very poor stewards of our Mother Earth, and frankly, I question whether we deserve the privilege. And so I really think that this is a time where we need to restore the balance, or it's going to be restored in spite of us and perhaps without us. Here in the United States, there are people in power who really believe that we're headed for Armageddon. And so they're making great efforts to manifest the apocalypse as being described by revelations in the Christian Bible. And these are madmen and a few mad women who really need to be stopped before they achieve their goal. So I think of this heliocentric square as being a wake-up call, so do not push snooze. On the positive side, we have a grand trine between Jupiter, I'll show it here, we have a grand trine here between Jupiter and Chiron, which is not going to show that line, and Saturn. Chiron is right here. So that's very favorable. And so when I think of that, it's about supporting healing and nurturing throughout our solar system. Venus in Taurus is at a 60-degree sextile to Neptune. So we have Venus sextile to Neptune over here. This is about emphasizing, Venus is the feminine, spiritual energy, and bringing that quality of awakening throughout the solar system, of which the Earth is part. Neptune is the only planet that makes an angle to Earth in the heliocentric square. So, like we've said before, we've got the Earth here, and you can see this line here connecting Neptune down here from 4 degrees Pisces to our Earth at 1 degrees of Gemini. And this underscores the importance of mysticism and spirit in the transformation on our home here with Gaia. Sextiles between Mercury and Saturn bring exposure to the global elite practice of hoarding ancient wisdom while publicly condemning the practices such as astrology or the Mayan calendar, or numerology, or traditional healing techniques, or other occult systems, the stuff we talk about in these reports. So let's look at the daily vibrational energy for the Trecena. November 21st is 1 Men, or Eagle, which is about unity experienced through seeing from a higher perspective. And that's the point where the sun moves into Sagittarius, which illuminates travel and education, expanding our horizons, and planning for the upcoming festivals and holiday periods of many different religions and practices, which we'll talk about that. This is going to be a very challenging end of December. But anyway, Sun and Sag brings a month with more of a focus on discovering new ideas or philosophies, being in the right place at the right time. And overall, it's a quality of optimism. We have the Cancer moon being challenged by Uranus and opposed by Pluto and Venus, supported by Mercury and Saturn, and merging with Jupiter. The day's emotional energies begin, with people likely to act hastily and jump to conclusions. And then with Pluto, it brings deep emotions start to rise to the surface, and folks are feeling in touch with their emotions and expressing them to others. And then then the shift later in the day is for pleasant energy, for enjoying sensual experiences and rich foods, with a caution against overindulgence. That's Venus's activity with the moon. And then later, Saturn, it brings in feeling more of a sober, realistic view of life. And then finally, we're having good feelings and expressing generosity to others when the moon dances with Jupiter. The 22nd is 2 Keeb, or wisdom. This is duality experienced through introspection, meditation, and forgiveness. And the moon is stimulated by Mars and finds support from the sun, which goes from having the desire to work independently earlier in the day, and then later it's about finding balance between our inner and outer worlds. November 23rd is 3 Kaban, or Earth, which is about taking action through our gratitude for Mother Earth, with Venus sextile Saturn. So this is now, we're looking at it from our perspective here on Earth, and we're looking at this angle between Venus and Saturn, and what we see is it's a 60-degree angle, which is good for creativity, where there's a need for close attention to detail. That's Saturn. Also, it's a time where folks may seek counsel from an older individual. This is practical energy for most business affairs and commerce, with artwork and other things of beauty. Saturn harmonizing with Venus, we feel obligations in our relationships. There's a sense of duty of being of service to our loved ones, which is also felt in a positive light. This is a time where we're most likely to be put group standards ahead of our own ideals. And as we talked about earlier, the 23rd is also that heliocentric Uranus Pluto square. So again, it's a 90-degree angle from the perspective of the sun between Pluto and Uranus. Again, it's about the whole solar system, and basically, I really look at it is a time of transformation through a death or rebirth process that affects the whole solar system to restore the balance. And I think of all the places in the solar system that is truly out of balance, our little planet has got to be one of those focal points. I have a great deal of hope and expectation that we as humans are going to embrace these changes that we will experience through that heliocentric Uranus Pluto square. I think it's also interesting that these alignments occur on day 3 of Kaban, which is also about Earth. So the day of the heliocentric square, it's a wake-up call, and what it's doing is it's underscoring the mysticism and spirit of transformation here on our home on Gaia during a Kaban day, during a day where it's about taking action for the Earth. We have a Leo moon. It's supported by Uranus and challenged by Mercury, which shifts from having the impulse to engage in activities that make us feel more alive, and then later our moods are influencing our ability to think rationally. The 24th is for Exnob or Flint in the Mayan Tzolkin calendar. This is about stability through being introspective. And we have the sun is square Neptune. So from our perspective here on Earth, the sun is at a 90-degree angle to Neptune, which brings, it's kind of a low energy day, which seems to take more energy to complete just the normal tasks that we do every day. It's possible this might be a day to have a lighter schedule with more time to rest. And some will feel a little beaten down by this transit. So it's really not a good day for work that requires courage or a great deal of confidence. So don't get discouraged. So this energy only lasts a couple of days. The sun, challenged by Neptune, is obscuring our clarity and our focus. We feel like it's low energy, but it's also illuminating our creativity. And on the 24th, the moon in Leo is challenged by Saturn at 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then it turns void of course, and it's void of course until 7 a.m. the following day. Again, these are Eastern Standard Time, so you need to convert it to your time zone. But that's a long, over 24-hour void of course moon. So again, from 4 a.m. On the 24th to 7 a.m. on the 25th Eastern Standard Time. And Saturn influencing the moon, that's when people feel lonely or isolated in a square. And then the void of course moon, it just doesn't favor any decisions or purchases. It's basically, again, real good energy, especially with the Sun square Neptune, for resting and assimilating the energy, letting things just settle to where they need to be rather than trying to make anything happen. There's other days for making things happen. November 25th is 5 Kawak or Storm. This is empowerment through recognizing the gifts of adversity. And this is the point where Mercury is at the same degree as Saturn. So from our perspective here on Earth, they are exactly the same degree of Scorpio, and this is the third Mercury alignment that has repeated 3 times due to the retrograde cycle. The Mercury conjunct Saturn makes folks cautious. It's on the positive side, we're much more precise in our thinking, and we're detail oriented in our communication. But and this is good if you've previously outlined a general plan. This allows you to fill in the details. Critical thinking can be very sharp. We can see the flaws in any argument, including our own. This transit can be an obstacle to seeing the big picture, but we see more of the distinction of different trees, but not so much the forest. At worst, it can create difficulty in communication because we may be afraid to reveal something, so we may do nothing due to the negative thinking that often accompanies this transit. But this is a time to speak out because what is not expressed can injure someone else. And I know that this is an et snob day. This is a day where there's going to be adversity. So, you may not be doing anyone a favor by holding back your communications, even though it may be limiting because of its connection with Saturn. Overall, this requires discipline and a commitment to our ethics and values, because we're talking about Scorpio. And we have the last quarter moon in Virgo, which is opposed by Neptune and challenged by the Sun, which brings feelings of people will be feeling sensitive emotionally, but confused regarding the accuracy of what's being felt. And because of the square to the Sun, it really challenges just following a daily routine. The 26th is 6 Ahau, or Sun, which is about being in the flow through honoring the wisdom and the memory of our ancestors in the Mayan Tzolkin calendar. We have the Virgo moon. It finds support from Pluto and Venus and harmonizes with Saturn, Mercury, and Jupiter. And so the day's emotional energy moves from intense emotions that are stimulating sensitivity, which also favors sexual relationships, to realistic expectations through being calm and reflective, and then increased conversations and overall chattiness, and then later enjoying social interactions with others, and then finally feeling in the flow and having a sense of wholeness. November 27th is 7 Emish, or crocodile, which is about reflection through new beginnings. And we have Mercury in a sextile to Venus. So Mercury is over here in Scorpio. Venus is in Capricorn. From our perspective on the Earth, that's a 60-degree angle. It's bringing light, sort of a light-hearted energy to the day. It's nice for using our minds for leisure, like reading for pleasure, or going to an art show or a concert, or playing a game you really enjoy, or just talking with friends. This is a day where we kind of get a break from the heavier concerns of life. So it's excellent for communicating our feelings to the people we love. So tell somebody you love them on the 27th. Tell them you love them today, whatever day it is. It's always good to tell people you love them. But 7 Emish is about nurturing new beginnings. So if you don't say it enough, maybe the new beginning that you're reflecting on is telling people you love them. Anyway, express your appreciation and gratitude, and I suspect it's going to come back to you in kind. Also, this is an excellent day to appreciate beauty. So you may want to put yourself in a beautiful environment, whether it's a home or a museum or spending the day in the country. It's really nice energy if you're celebrating Hanukkah or U.S. Thanksgiving or Comet Ison's closest approach to the sun, which occurs on the following day. All three of those events occur on the 28th. So anyway, also on the 27th, we have the moon in Virgo. It merges with Mars, which brings experiencing irritable moods and critical communications at 6:45 a.m. And then it turns void, of course, until moving into Libra at 5 p.m. Again, these are Eastern Standard Time. So while the moon is void, of course, again, best to avoid making major decisions and purchases. Again, just kind of really enjoy that pleasant Mercury sextile Venus energy and not have to push the envelope. The 28th is 8 Eek or wind. This is about balance through communication. And this is Ison comes into perihedron and it's at 0.0124 astronomical units. An astronomical unit is the average distance between the sun and the Earth. So that would be 1 AU. So this is at 0.0124 AU from the center point of the sun, which is very close when you consider that it was 0.07248 AU from Mars on October 1st. By comparison, the closest ISON will be to the Earth is at 0.4292 AU, and that will be on December 26th. So, you know, ISON really does not get so close to Earth, and there's a lot of misinformation about that. So I'm here to tell you that it's going to be almost half the distance between the Earth and the Sun at its closest point to the Earth. We will pass close to ISON's orbit, and we may, this is really kind of being disputed, whether we're going to experience micron-sized particles around January 14th or 15th of next year. We may experience some new meteor showers at the time. We may not. You know, of course, this is all speculation based on ISON and surviving this encounter with the sun, because this is a very, very close trajectory for ISON when it gets close to the sun. You know, the current thinking is that ISON should become as bright as Venus if it doesn't break up in perihedron. It will move just north, passing 2 degrees of Polaris on January 8th. Also on the 28th, get back to the astrology here, we got Mercury here, and it's in a trine to Jupiter. So from our perspective here on Earth, Mercury is at a 120-degree angle. This is great energy for making plans for the future from the overall from an overall perspective. Okay, because now we're talking Jupiter. Saturn gives us the details. Jupiter gives us the perspective. This transit does not influence us to take the easy way out. It does influence us. You know, Jupiter just really doesn't want to, you know, deal with a confrontation. It wants to avoid difficult intellectual and mental problems. Jupiter supporting Mercury is good for business dealings and signing contracts, as we find that our minds are sharper to seek opportunities that are normally overlooked. This is optimistic, and it promotes positive thinking and studying subjects that deal with a high-level thought, such as things like law or philosophy or religion. Also, on the 28th, we have Venus, and it's opposing Jupiter. So from our perspective here on the Earth, this is a 180-degree angle, which has Venus feeling tension from Jupiter and creating expansion in our personal relationships and growth. So this is very strongly inclined towards excessive indulgence, and it basically indicates a time of pleasure, satisfaction, or joy with a tendency to overdo. Folks will feel a desire to buy expensive luxury items perhaps without having the means to pay for them. Venus and Jupiter are about heavy, rich, sweet foods and overeating. So this isn't going to be a great day for the diet. If you approach the day with some discipline, it should be quite enjoyable. We also have the moon in Libra harmonizing with the sun and opposed by Uranus and challenged by Pluto. The day moves from feelings of inner and outer equanimity to later folks feeling emotionally excitable and impulsive, and finally having the compulsion to act in ways that might not be good for you in the long run. So again, discipline, please. November 29th is 9 Akbal, or night. This is about patience experienced through contemplating the stars, with the moon in Libra being challenged by Jupiter and Venus, which brings benevolent and generous feelings for those in our immediate environment, with pleasant energy for being with others we want to get to know better. All of this is happening up until 6 a.m., and then it makes no angles. The moon makes no angles, so it's void of course until it moves into Scorpio at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on November 29th. Which it does not, so that's another time period that's not really great for decisions or purchases, but it really favors rest. The 30th is 10 Khan, or seed, in the Mayan Tzolkin calendar. Also stands for lizard, symbolized by lizard. Manifestation through planting seeds and making new connections. And at this point we have the sun, from our perspective here on Earth, is forming a trine. So that's a 120 degree angle, and it colors the day's energy to want to engage in new and different activities that lead to self-discovery and a greater understanding in the world. This is more exciting energy than we have most days. People will be more of the perspective, will be more perceptive and able to make changes with a greater understanding of the interrelationships within their lives. I expect folks to be more forthright in expressing themselves without trying to filter what's being expressed for the benefit of the listener. The day is good for studying science or something technical or occult subjects such as astrology, because it brings the ability to find a greater understanding of any discipline that reveals new and exciting aspects of our universe. On the other hand, this could be a difficult day for following a daily routine. So get out there, do something you've always wanted to do. This is a great day to cross something off your bucket list. You'll probably gain some new self-awareness in the process. We're also going to be experiencing the Scorpio moon supported by Neptune, harmonizing with Pluto, which moves from fantasies and daydreams, distracting us from accomplishing routine tasks. Excuse me. Later, having deep emotions finding their way to the surface and felt on a profound level. And then December 1st begins, we have 11 Chichan, or serpent. This is a resolution through being flexible in the Mayan Tzolkin calendar. While we experience the moon in Scorpio merging with Saturn and Mercury, being supported by excuse me, supported by Jupiter, and in harmony with Venus and Mars, the day's emotional energy moves from wanting to be alone in our thoughts and feelings to later having a sense of inner and outer equanimity, and then later still wanting to be with friends and people we love, and then finally it brings positive energy for integrating our thoughts and moods with the desire to be working independently from others. And then the second is 12 Kimi, or transformation. This is about understanding through the release of what no longer serves us, while we experience this Sagittarius new moon, which is being challenged by Neptune and supported by Uranus and merging with the sun. Sagittarius illuminates travel, education, expanding our horizons, and planning for, upcoming festivities. This may bring more focus on discovering a new ideas, philosophy, opportunities. It's quite optimistic. Neptune adds to the quality of daydreamings and fantasies, feeling more important than reality. Uranus brings a desire for emotional excitement to engage in activities outside the daily routine during the new moon. And this new moon, new moons in general bring an opportunity to set an intention for the following full moon. So what you do is you look at the house of your astrology chart that contains 11 degrees Sagittarius to consider what area of your life is being activated by this new moon. For me, that's my 6th house. It's the house of service and health. So I would set an intention related to using this energy, such as finding new ways to serve others or improve my health through higher education, travel, or other activities that expand my point of view, which would be like Sagittarius. Think of Sagittarius, it brings spiritual elements to this new moon, so that there's what we're looking at is really that there might be a real strong spiritual purpose aligned with the new moon opportunities that are opening up on the 2nd. And then December 3rd is 13 Menik, or Deer. This is movement to the next stage through being of service to others. And we have Mercury, from our perspective here on Earth, forming a sextile with Mars. So again, sextile is a 60-degree angle. This brings a busy day with folks having more energy than usual for their own projects. It's a day where working for someone else's benefit does not inspire diligence, but more likely resentment. So if you can use the day to work on what's of interest to you, it will probably seem like a good use of all this energy. Since others are feeling the same way, working independently of others would probably be beneficial, because this energy is convincing others of their point of view. So they also have the energy to try to convince you of their perspective. This might be a day to avoid people and conversations that could lead to arguments, because there's a competitive edge to it, and we may feel confident in our ideas and beliefs to initiate something that should be successful in the long run, but we really don't need the others to bring it to fruition. So, this is about initiating something that is personal to us. We've got the moon in Sagittarius. It's challenged by Mars, which will have people feeling a little more irritable and could lead to needless disputes. So again, the energy of Menik, I know it's about service to others, but the astrology energy of it, the day, is really about, doing something that's of interest to yourself independently for others, but maybe it has a benefit to others, but you want to kind of roll that portion out on another day. So anyway, no matter what the energies that are affecting you during this one Eagle Transcena, take some time out to be in the flow of the planet by being in nature, watching a sunrise or a sunset, communing with the stars, being conscious of the moment through introspection, meditation, or being with somebody you love. Every day we have is a blessing, no matter what the dramas are that beckon to distract us. We're all here just giving the performance of our lifetime on the world stage. But take some time out to observe the play, as well as acting your part by remembering you're a spiritual being who just happens to be here having this human experience. Anyway, thank you for checking out New World Birth. The next segment of Care and Feeding of a New World Age will be on December 4th, 2013 for one Lamat or star, which is the final Trisena of the round. We also have Mercury moving into Sagittarius. Mars will be moving into Libra. You can check us out on Facebook, YouTube, and the Mayan Magics website. I encourage you to share this information as the videos or as text as widely as you choose. I will also be discussing the astrology of December 23rd and providing some short human design readings to the participants of the Earth Needs Rebels show on Orion Talk Radio, and that show is Monday, December 2nd. It's at 1:30 Eastern Standard Time. As always, I invite you to contact me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com if you got any questions or if you wish to schedule a reading. And I am providing readings, and I really wish to make this service available to the greatest amount of folks. So I've created 3 options with 3 levels of compensation. These readings are designed to provide you the information to help you navigate these difficult times. At the basic level, we're going to look at your human design chart to help you understand how to use your individual strategy and authority in making life decisions based on your unique design. I include 3 months of astrological transits as they relate to your natal and progressive astrology chart, along with the human design reading at the middle level. And at the top level, the human design and astrology transit reading is recorded, and then it's sent to you as an MP3 file that can be downloaded to your computer so you can review it over and over again. So anyway, if you've been thinking about getting a reading, please contact me. I would like to provide you a reading during these uncertain times. You're going to need to either be able to contact me in Maine, in the USA, or we can talk on the phone, or we can connect over Skype in order to receive your reading. If you get a recording, some people opt to have the reading just recorded and sent to them, and then we have a shorter conversation later on. We're also accepting donations, in order to keep New World Birth going, keep these reports freely available. And one of the best ways you can make a donation is by getting a reading. So please do me the blessing of having that opportunity. I would be very, very grateful for that. As always, I am blessed that you have taken the time out to connect with my passion for all these ancient mysteries and their application in our journey during this incarnation. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste and Lakesh, and look forward to connecting with you in the next report, or hopefully in a reading real soon. Peace to everyone.